Today's adventure takes us to Smallville Cemetery, where today we're going to find the grave of Jonathan Kent, Superman's earthly father, and Clark Kent, Superman himself. What's that? Oh, that was just a movie they filmed here? That's not the actual cemetery? Okay, I'll start over again. Today's adventure is going to take us to Aux Sable Grove Cemetery here near Yorkville, Illinois. Now, this cemetery goes back to about 1828. There's about 1,500 graves here. And this cemetery was used in the movie Superman, Man of Steel and Superman vs. Batman. So we're going to check out those filming sites in this cemetery today as well. So come join me as we explore Aux Sable Grove Cemetery. As we enter the cemetery here, you can see a lot of graves. This one right in front of me caught my eye right away. You can see how there's both a footstone and a headstone here. Difficult to read what this says. I do see something about Mother's grave down there. And you can see it has some nice curbing to it that's still very well intact. That's very nice to see. Got some interesting markers here. Just cubes. Marble cubes. Clifford chair. And behind Clifford is Cherry, that's what it is, there's a Y there, is Charles Cherry, 1913, and then next to him is Emma Clark Cherry, 1906. That's interesting. They just have just cubes, giant cubes. I really like the design of this one. Good detail on this one. It says, our brother, Robert Cherry, died. He died in 1875. Very nice marker for him. I really like that. We've got a nice tall obelisk here. I think one of the things I'm going to start doing is doing a favorite monument and tallest monument in the cemetery, and this would be the tallest monument in this cemetery. A little hard to read. Right there, I see Sarah Ann Cherry. A lot of cherries buried in this cemetery, and you can see, unfortunately, this marker is starting to wear. Moses Cherry here. Looks like 1870. A lot of cherries in this cemetery. Fortunately, a nice marker here that has toppled. And from what I can tell, well, I think there's a couple markers in this cemetery that have, but this was a large marker of Lois Hem, wife of W.F. Butner, died in 1894. And it's not crooked, so that leads me to believe that it may have had some help falling over, unfortunately. This one's interesting. It's interesting because it's offset to the other markers in the cemetery. Farley is the name. Henry Wise Farley. Looks like he died February 28th. That must be when he was born, 1819. And looks here like he died February 2nd of 1892. Nice marker. A couple of large ones here. Susan Farley. And then Henry Farley. 1871 on that one. Looks like 1871. And on Susan's, it looks like it's 1876. Another Farley. It says, wife of Jabez Farley, died, and it's kind of hard to read when she died or her name. Elisa is the name. Hard to tell when Elisa passed away. Right behind that, a beautiful old obelisk. No identifiable markings on this. It seems like they've all been wiped away at this point in time. Another old stone. Again, no markings on that one either. Looks like perhaps maybe this was a veteran. It seems to have that design to it. The symbol on top looks like perhaps a hand with the finger pointing up. A little hard to tell with that one. And I wanted to check out this one over here. Elizabeth, wife of Isaac Thompson. Elizabeth died in 1856 at 74 years old. There are some amazing markers in here. Unfortunately, this one has fallen and broke, laying flat in the ground, and I cannot read it, obviously. And we've got one here, an old one. Can I read that one? That one's a bit difficult to read, even with my flashlight. This might be, I don't know, it looks like 1827 is birth, maybe 1871 as far as the death goes. Another great old marker, Thomas Newsom, age 53 years, died 1874 on that one. Hannah, says mother, 1906. There's one over here I really wanted to check out. This one says, I believe it says Martha, wife of, can't really make out the last name, nor can I make out the date of death. And then there's one over here. Can't make out that name either, but I believe that to be Civil War era. Just look at this cemetery. Just beautiful on this cold, brisk winter day. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more of these wonderful markers, and then we'll get to the filming location of some of the Superman movies. Here's Laura Johnson, it looks like. Nice marker. There's one in the ground here. Fortunately, it's not yet covered with snow. Wife of something Johnson, age 61 years. I wanted to show this one here. This is really nice. Father and mother, Wheeler family. See 1891 in the lower right. It looks like it's, let's see here, Sally Wheeler. And here, rather hard to tell, looks like 1880 something there. That would be the father, obviously. And we have father and mother here. Cyrus Wheeler. October 6, 1821. Died March 7th, 1860. Fantastic monument to him, or to them, mother and father. Let me check out these couple. Look at this. Handshake, very common theme. William is the name. Can't really tell. It may be a Wheeler. Here's Robert Merritt, Merritt. Died October 12th, 1874, I believe that is. 57 years old for him. Just remarkable. One in the ground here. Very hard to read that. And this is a nice one here. Unfortunately, the top part has come off. Jonathan Reed, 1875. His wife, Polly. Looks like 1881 with Polly. And I have to point out this marker. Not only is it a really nice marker, but there's a very tragic story to this marker. You see Thompson's the name, and look at the inside of this. It has tractor, angel. So this is an unfortunate story of Dr. Jennifer Thompson and her 4-year-old son. They died in an auto accident February 14th, 2007. Her son Samuel was 4 years old. He lived another day. He died on the 15th. Very tragic and sad. And unfortunately, they had another son who was 15 and just died last year. And he's not engraved in there yet, but you can see he was buried here. From what I understand, I believe that was a special needs son. I don't know exactly what medical condition he had, but he passed away at 15. So both the mother, 2 sons passed away in this family, very young. Very sad. All right, let's look at some filming locations here. So the filming locations for both Superman Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman occurred right here. As a matter of fact, Jonathan Kent, his tombstone was right about here. And right next to him was where Superman was buried. And in that scene with the priest kind of giving the eulogy graveside.
Awake and sing, ye that dwell in dust, for thy dew is like the dew of the morning.
You can see this tombstone in the background. This Austin tombstone in the background. And then in that was in Batman vs. Superman. And then in Superman Man of Steel, the same location here. This is where Amy Adams was standing here looking at Jonathan Kent's grave, trying to find Superman. And
I figured if I turned over enough stones, you'd eventually find me. Where are you from? What are you here? Let me tell your story.
What if I don't want my story told?
She looked over her right shoulder, and lo and behold, there's Clark Kent was standing right here, right in front of this tombstone on the ground. He was standing right there. And you can see the tree and a couple of the tombstones in the background. And then the camera panned back over to Amy Adams here, and you can see the Schubert tombstone in the background there.
Going to come out eventually.
Now, there is a house here now. That house was not here back when they filmed the movie. Or movies, I should say. So yeah, this is the location of where the Kent family was buried. Superman was buried. His father was buried right here.
They will. And they'll fight.
Okay, right over in that area was the grave site. However, the entrance to Smallville Cemetery was right over here. If you remember in the movie, the entrance was kind of into a cornfield, which there's the cornfield right there. Obviously no corn because it's the middle of winter. And there was a path, a couple of pillars out here, and then a sign above the pillars that said Smallville Cemetery. And if you remember in the movie, this is where Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman were talking at the funeral of Superman. Happened right there.
We have to stand together.
100 years ago, I walked away from mankind, from a century of horrors.
Okay, that's going to do it today from Aux Sable Grove Cemetery. Not only is it a nice old cemetery here in rural Illinois, but I like the fact that it has a little bit of Hollywood history to it with the filming of both Superman, Man of Steel, and Batman vs. Superman movies. That's pretty neat. And it's pretty neat to see the actual locations that where the movie was shot. So thank you for coming with me today. I always appreciate it. And until next time, keep exploring.